Hey, welcome back to Half Moon's Picks. I'm sorry I haven't put out a video in a while. I know I've been slacking. I said I'd do some Lions updates once a month. But this year they're keeping it kind of hush-hush. Martha Ford doesn't talk to the press. There's only a few things that happen that's not really noteworthy. And they keep the media out of it. And even I read all the media lines today, NFL Today, and there's not much news on the line. So all my prognosticator buddies are doing their favorite team, so I thought I'd do the same thing as my video for the off season. Thanks for coming, and let's get started.
All systems go.
Looking ahead to the preseason, which usually people don't even talk about the preseason, and the games don't mean much. But just to look at the four teams that the Lions have to play, all losing teams, except for Buffalo. You know, they finished 9-7. But the Jets, they finished 4-12, last place in their division. And you got the Washington Redskins, 4-12, last place in their division. Both those Thursday games. And then you got a Friday night game with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who finished third place in their division, but only at 3-13. And then you got Buffalo, who's 9-7, second place in their division last year, but they no longer have Jim Schwartz, so it doesn't matter. So let's go on and let's look at the regular season. All right, week one we traveled to San Diego Chargers. Last time we played the AFC West, we did fairly well, and we went to the playoffs that year. So keeping that in mind, most players play for Detroit that played for them back in 2011, along with majority of the players from the AFC West, minus Peyton Manning. 5 games, I have to say, with the Lions are pretty rough, man. It's pretty brutal. So they have to win at least, 2 to 3 of those first 5 games. And the first game is in San Diego. The last time we played them, we won 38-10. We just totally blew them out of the water. Philip Rivers and Matthew Stafford should be a nice gun show. But the Lions are going to concentrate a lot on running this year and try to keep time of possession, something that the Chargers do usually when they play the Broncos. Might be a little bit closer this year, but since I need to win on a hard schedule, I'm going to have to give this to the Lions, knowing the past history and how bad the Lions beat them last time they played. Week 2, we play the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. They got Adrian Peterson back. Last time they beat us was the 4th meeting end of the season 2 years ago. They beat us by 1 point. Last time we played Adrian Peterson, we held him around 80 yards. Yeah, he had 1 breakout for 80 yards, and after that he didn't get nothing. So usually our run defense is pretty good. I know we lost Sue, but we got Haloti Ngata. In a must-win situation, I think the Lions will win their first 2 games. I know their first 2 on the road. It's going to be tough for both of them. So I'm going to pick the Lions to win the second game of the season as well. Week 3, we play the Broncos against Peyton Manning. And we beat them back in 2011. It was a pretty high-scoring game. We beat them 45-10, and that was at Denver. Well, this time we're at home, but then again, we played against Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow's a big stretch from Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's getting to be past his years, and he played pretty poorly at the end of last year. But yeah, it's Peyton Manning. So week 3, I'm going to give the edge, and we'll lose our first home game to the Denver Broncos. Week 4, we play Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Oh, the hardest place in the world to play, and Detroit has to go up there. So the first 4 games, this is the 3rd road game. And Seattle's near impossible to beat in Seattle. I know Dallas did it last year, but it was a rough ride. So they gained, I know Seattle gained some strengths and in their receiving core. Should be a lot tougher to beat. I know Cliff Averill used to play for Detroit a few years ago, and he plays for Seattle now. But I don't see Detroit winning this game at all. It's going to be a rough ride, so we're going to be 2-2 after the first 4 games with the Seattle victory on top. Week 5, we come back home after playing 2 night games back-to-back in the last 2 weeks as well. And we come home and we face the Cardinals, the last of the 5-game hard stretch on the road mostly. But Cardinals, they keep it close. I know it seems like every time we play in the desert, and it's usually a pretty close game, and they always scrape by one way or another. I'm not a big fan of Carson Palmer. I know he gets injured a lot, and he likes to rifle him down the field. I know so does Matthew Stafford. But I think the last 3 meetings, the Cardinals won at home. Now that they're coming back to Detroit, I think Detroit's going to win this one. So we're going to put the Lions over the Cardinals at home as their first home game victory against the Cardinals. Next, week 6, we're playing the Chicago Bears at home. Chicago Bears, they're a rough ride last few years. It's hard to say who's going to be at quarterback at the start of the season, let alone who's going to be the quarterback week 6 for the Chicago Bears. They're predicted to be pretty bad this year. We beat them the last 4 meetings of the last 2 years. They once in a while, they'll try to shoot it out, but like I said, they lost one of their major wide receivers this year, so I'm giving Detroit a victory on this as well, week 6 in Detroit. Next, we play the Minnesota Vikings for the second time in Detroit. The Lions, like I said, play the Vikings usually fairly well and easily in Detroit. But you never know. Now that Adrian Peterson is back, does he still have it? Does he not? Who knows? Lions, like I said, they stuffed AP the last time they played, so it should be a good game. It might be a little bit closer, but I'm still giving the Lions the victory at home on this one. Next, we traveled to London. We're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. It's actually counted as a away game, but it's a neutral field. The Chiefs, last time Detroit played them, like I said, 2011. We blew out this whole division left and right. But like I said, they got new coaching staff, new quarterback. This whole team's pretty much revamped. We won the last time we played in London against the Atlanta Falcons. We come back and win that game, so it was a very exciting game. The Kansas City Chiefs are not known to be a big passing team and big run game, so that's usually our strong points, run defense. So what we're going to do, we're going to win this game. The Chiefs, last time we played Kansas City, it was 48-3. Yeah, so that was a big blowout. So I like I said, if you're a run team, we're pretty good in stopping you. If you're a pass team, that's where we have problems. So chalk up another victory for week 8 in London. Next, we play the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau Field. And November 15th, it probably won't be snow, but it'll probably get a little chilly there. Thank goodness that every time we play them, it's usually in the middle of December in Green Bay. We haven't won in Green Bay since, Barry Sanders days back in the 90s. So the odds of us winning there this season is, unless Aaron Rodgers gets injured. That's the only thing you can pray for, Never want to see a player injured, but, if he plays against the Lions, I hope he falls quick, But that's the only way we're going to get a chance. They have basically no backup. Flynn went to Miami, so I think that's what the guy's name. But he's not a great backup. So if Aaron Rodgers falls, that whole team goes down. But if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, I'm giving the victory to Green Bay. Week 11, we play the Raiders in Detroit. One team that always gives us hassles, even since back in the 80s. It always seems to be the Raiders. I don't know why. No clue. They're not a very good team. But the Raiders always give us hassles. I know in 2011 we did beat them. It was 28-27. It was pretty close. They played closer than all the other teams in their division that year. And so the Lions always get beat by one team that has no reason to beat them. Last year it was Buffalo. This year I believe it'll be the Raiders. So in an upset pick, I'm going to predict the Raiders beating Detroit in Detroit, for Week 11. Next, back-to-back home games, we play the Philadelphia Eagles of Week 12. Philadelphia, Chip Kelly. Oh, what has he done to that team? You don't really know what he's going to do, but like I said, they got Tim Tebow. That's all that needs to be said. Sam Bradford is a quarterback gets injured very easily. I've seen him get injured in the first preseason game. I think that was just last year. And, Mark Sanchez, I remember when he played for the Jets, Detroit destroyed him. Ziggy Ansah even got a pick six, our defensive end. So they pulled him out of the game. So then you brought Tebow, who he destroyed, in 2011, 45-10. So basically, I don't see how the Eagles are going to come close to beating us this year. That whole team is, they got a decent running back, but then again, as I reminded you before, the Lions can stop the run and are usually pretty good at the run. So I'm picking Eagles to lose on this game, and Lions should win by a large margin, especially after a loss against the Raiders the week before. And the third home game in a row, after winning big on Thanksgiving against the Eagles, we play the Packers at home. Last two times we played the Packers at home, we've won both times. Aaron Rodgers didn't play 2 years ago, but he played last year, and either way, we won both times. Lions usually do play a great game against the Packers at home, and they'll do it again this year. Usually the spread's always for the Packers, and usually win that pretty good too. So take the Lions and a win on their third home game stretch against the Packers in Week 13. Next, we travel to St. Louis against the Rams. The Rams picked up a lot of old Lions players this year and are looking pretty good on defense. I think they might be a good sleeper this year. They got rid of Bradford and a lot of people that weren't producing last year for the Rams, and I think St. Louis will win this one. I think the Lions will travel to St. Louis. It'll be kind of a close game. I know Rams last year would jump out ahead and then just totally lose it at the end of the game, most of their games last season. But this year they find a way to win, and I'm picking the Rams over Detroit in an upset. Week 15, another night game. We play in New Orleans on December 21st. That's one. I know the Saints is one team that always gives the Lions hassle and problems to win. Last year we beat them barely in Detroit. The last two times we played the Saints, which was actually 2011, we lost both times. We lost in December in New Orleans. We lost 31-17, and then we played the wild card game against them and lost 45-28. So, but that was Matthew Stafford. He was kind of a rookie, and then the Saints played a good defense, confusing them, changing up a lot of things, and so Stafford didn't play well. But again, until I see it that we could win in New Orleans, I'm putting the victory against with New Orleans at home this year. Week 16, and I got the Lions 8-6 so far. So 2 games left in the season. Week 16, we come back home after 2 games on the road, and we play against the 49ers. 49ers, Colin Kaepernick, which I believe is not that great of a quarterback. And they got a new coaching staff, and they're having issues as well with their teammates and the news. But the 49ers are predicted to go last this season. They've just been slowly going downhill. I believe the Lions will need the next 2 victories to go into the playoffs, and will beat the 49ers at home with ease. And that comes to our conclusion of the last game of the season against Chicago. It will be in Chicago. It'll be a cold, wintry game in January 3rd. It's scheduled 1 o'clock on Sunday. Like I said, we'll be 9-6. We'll need this victory. Bears are not a great team. Haven't beat us in over 2 years. So I believe the Lions will escape this and win a close game against the Bears, and march into the playoffs at 10-6. Well, thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed the videos, and stay tuned. I'm going to do a prediction NFL wide, probably or sometime during the preseason, and what I think all the teams are going to rank. All right, thanks again, and I'll see you later. Peace.
Shutdown sequence initiated. Shutting down.